Hiniling po ng Malacanang kay Vice President Leni Robredo na pag-aralan ng mabuti ang datos kaugnay ng kampanya ng Duterte administration laban sa illegal na droga. Sinabi ito ni Presidential Legal Counsel o Presidential Chief Legal Counsel Attorney Salvador Panelo kaugnay ng gagawing pagpresenta ng Vice President ng kanyang online video message sa annual meeting ng Commission on Narcotic Drugs. At dahil sa kalihim, hindi lamang ito misplaced kundi unfortunate. Kabilang sa tinukoy nito na hindi dapat ituring na extrajudicial killings ang 7,000 umano'y casualty sa kampanya ng illegal na droga dahil maliit na porsyento lamang dito ay lehitimong police operations at karamihan ay ang tinatawag na silencing operations ng mga leaders ng drug mafias. Kinontra rin ng Palasyo ang report na hindi napagtutuunan ng pansin ang pagkilos para labanan ang kahirapan. Sinabi ni Attorney Panelo na may mekanismong inilatag ang Duterte administration ng programa kontra kahirapan at kasama pa rin dito ang pagsugpo sa illegal na droga.
No, we can only appeal to the Vice President's sense to study more and to listen more to what is the reality on the ground. It is not true, as she stated in her video, that this is the result, the extrajudicial killings are the result of police operations. Not necessarily true. Some of them, yes, but most of them are coming from the infighting between the members of the syndicate, because the other side want to silence those who surrendered, and those who surrender want to defend themselves. That's why there are more extrajudicial killings resulting from that rather than from the police operations. Now, with respect to, according to her, that the administration concentrate more on the war on poverty, again, I think the Vice President has been misinformed. This administration precisely is bent on lifting the state of economic want of our countrymen. And in fact, the Anti-Poverty Commission, when we met the other day, has even geared a total of 50 billion pesos in order to determine exactly what this commission will do to help the poor.
Isiniwalat ni Vice President Leni Robredo na may nangyayari umanong palit-ulo scheme sa kampanya kontra droga ng administrasyon. Sinabi yan ng Vice Presidente sa video message na ayon sa Office of the Vice President ay ipalalabas sa isang session ng United Nations Commission on Narcotic Drugs Annual Meeting sa Vienna, Austria bukas. Tinalakay ni Robredo sa video ang nangyayari raw sa gitna ng kampanya kontra droga, kabilang na raw ang palit-ulo scheme.
People are told that they didn't have any right to demand for search warrants because they were squatters and did not own the properties on which their houses were built. They told us of the Palit-Ulo scheme, which literally means exchange heads, where the wife or husband or relative of a person in a so-called drug list will be taken if the person himself could not be found.
Sinabi rin ni Robredo na sang-ayon siya na dapat magkaroon ng ligtas na komunidad para sa lahat. Pero hindi raw dapat isipin na bala lang ang solusyon sa problema sa droga. Hiniling na raw ni Robredo sa Pangulo na tutukan ng iba pang issue sa lipunan gaya ng kahirapan at hindi lang ang problema sa droga. Wala pang sagot ang Palasyo at PNP ukol sa pahayag ni Robredo sa video.
Borden, Executive Director of the DRCNet Foundation, Marco Perduca, former member of the Italian Senate, Chito Gascon, Chairperson of the Commission on Human Rights, Alison Smith, Legal Counsel and Director of International Criminal Justice Program, No Peace Without Justice, all the other sponsors of this event, ladies and gentlemen, a good day to all of you. We are heartened that the issue of extrajudicial killings in the Philippines today is being discussed in an event such as this. To know that the international community's eyes are on us, and to feel that human rights advocates are watching over our country gives us comfort, courage, and hope. It is already February 2017, and the body count due to drug-related killings keeps growing. We are now looking at some very grim statistics. Since July last year, more than 7,000 people have been killed in summary executions. We agree that our people deserve nothing less than a safe environment, so that anyone can walk the streets safely, whether in daylight or at nighttime. But drug abuse should not be treated as one that can be solved with bullets alone. It must be regarded as it truly is, a complex public health issue, linked intimately with poverty and social inequality. As it is, in some areas in Manila where poverty is rampant, residents tell us that communities are rounded up in places like basketball courts, women separated from men, those with tattoos asked to stand in a corner, their belongings searched. People are told that they didn't have any right to demand for search warrants because they were squatters and did not own the properties on which their houses were built. They told us of the Palit-Ulo scheme, which literally means exchange heads, where the wife or husband or relative of a person in a so-called drug list will be taken if the person himself could not be found. Some of those have told us that when there's crime, they normally go to the police. Now they don't know where to turn to. Our people feel both hopeless and helpless, a state of mind that we must all take seriously. This is why the Office of the Vice President supports the rehabilitation of drug dependents. You cannot kill addicts and declare the problem solved. The solution is to design the proper health, education, and psychosocial interventions to prevent further drug use and help them transition into productive members of society. Another challenge is to drum up legal and psychological support for those who may have undergone trauma due to extrajudicial killings. We believe that when the public knows its rights under the Philippine Constitution, when the community is united in this knowledge, our people will be better protected. We must tread carefully on this, however, because in some cases reported to us, those who ask for a search warrant, for instance, have been beaten and physically abused for doing so. We must all demand greater transparency in the government's war on drugs, because this is a major publicly funded campaign. Our leaders must be honest about the basis of the drug war. What exactly is the scope of the drug problem? Why do numbers about the extent of the problem change, as officially reported to the nation by our president, inconsistent? We believe that any campaign against illegal drugs must be founded on integrity. The public must ask why no one is being held accountable. The public must be watchful. Around 500 complaints have been filed at the Commission on Human Rights and recommended to the Department of Justice for filing of cases. But until now, 7 months into the administration's drug war, no information has been filed. On top of this, there's a brewing problem. Death penalty might soon return, and the age of criminal liability might be brought down to 9. We believe this to be a huge mistake because death penalty for non-violent offenses violate UN treaties and international human rights norms. Last Friday, a day before the EDSA People Power Revolution's 31st anniversary, we called the President to task on this. On behalf of the Filipino people whose daily struggles are escalating, we asked him to focus on the war that really matters, the war against poverty, instead of just the war against drugs. In a public statement, we asked him to direct the nation towards respect for rule of law instead of a blatant disregard for it. We asked him to uphold basic human rights enshrined in our Constitution instead of encouraging its abuse. We asked him to be the leader he promised to be and evoke in our people hope and inspiration instead of fear. We told him, do not allow the lies to distort the truth. We also asked the Filipino people to defy brazen incursions on their rights. Our people have fought long for our rights and freedoms. The Filipino nation has come so far since our country's darkest days. We are not about to back down now. Thank you all for listening. May you have a fruitful discussion moving forward. The Office of the Vice President is looking forward to deepening this conversation further with you.
Iniugnay naman ni Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte ang ilang mining firm sa destabilization.
Baguio City. Itong unang beses na nakita sila ng publiko na magkasama mula nang magbitiw sa gabinete si Robredo. Sa simula ng talumpati ng Pangulo, nakalimutan niyang batiin si Robredo. Pero mismo ang Pangulo rin ang nakapansin nito kaya humingi ng tawad at tinawag pang beautiful lady ang vice-presidente. At nakangiti rin nagkamay ang dalawa na isang upuan lang ang pagitan sa isa't isa. 167 kadete ng Salaknib Class of 2017 ang nagtapos at sa kauna-unahang pagkakataon, 8 sa top 10 ay mga babae, kabilang na ang valedictorian na si Rovi Martinez. Ang kay Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana, nagkataon lang daw na maraming babae sa Salaknib Class at mas kailangan din daw ang mga lalaki sa field at malamang sa opisina raw ma-assign ang mga babae.
We need the women also in the military, but mas maraming kailangan natin sa field sa mga combat units. If they want to go to combat, they can go to combat. Kaya lang, ang problema lang pag nasa combat yung may asawa at nabuntis, kami nalagay. Office.
Mahigit isang linggo na rin simula ng ilunsad ang Oplan Double Barrel Reloaded para sa kampanya kontra droga na ayon kay PNP Chief Ronald De La Rosa ay hindi na magiging masyadong madugo. Ano-ano ba ang mga dapat at hindi dapat gawin sa Oplan Tokhang? Para sagutin, makakasama natin live dito sa studio ang Presidente ng Integrated Bar of the Philippines, Attorney Rosario Reyes. Maaari rin kayong lumahok sa ating diskusyon, mga kapuso. Mag-tweet lang na gamit ang hashtag na AskNTG. Magandang umaga sa inyo, Attorney Reyes.
Magandang umaga naman din sa iyo, Mr. Severino.
Hawi na lang po. So you're the head of this nationwide lawyers group.
Oh, yes.
And last year pa lang, pinupunan niya itong methods ng laban na kontra droga. No?
Yes.
And then your main criticism last year until it was suspended on January 30 was what? Ano yung main
Yes.
criticism niya?
Number one, we said that we are not in favor of these extrajudicial killings, if you want to call them as extrajudicial killings. Every killing, we said, is a criminal act and cannot be countenanced. No? So it has to be investigated, prosecuted, and decided upon whether in favor or against the police agencies.
Oh, pero sinasabi naman ng PNP ay wala naman daw silang kinalaman dito sa EJ case, itong sinasabi niya extrajudicial killings, no? But according to the PNP stats themselves, no, many of these people have been killed during actual official police operations. Ano naman masasabi niyo dun sa police operations?
Yun ang isang, when I attended one of the meetings of the Drug Agency Board, I actually asked them if, number one, have they conducted investigation about these alleged killings? Number two, what's the status of the investigation? Number three, has there been any case or cases filed against the supposed assailants or killers?
And ano yung mga tugon sa inyo, no? Kasi lahat daw ng mga napapatay are deaths under investigation.
Yes, yes.
The police do not want to, na-interview namin si Chief Bato de la Rosa. He doesn't want to call them EJ case.
Yeah.
Mga DUI daw to, deaths under investigation. So,
Yes.
ano naman yung sinagot sa inyo nang tinanong nyo, ano na yung status ng mga investigation?
Actually, they have wala silang diretsang sagot sa tanong, maliban sa sabihan kami na it's still the reports are still being collated and that it will be released in due time.
Okay, pero sa tingin nyo, talaga bang iniimbestiga itong napakaraming deaths under investigation? May nababalitaan ba tayong mga resulta?
Wala nga, yun ang problema. Kasi wala naman silang ipinalalathala ng mga resulta ng itong mga investigasyon na ito. Maliban dun sa mangilan-ilan, ito yung mga tinatawag nating high-profile cases, no? But yung karamihan ng mga napapatay who belong to the poorer members of our society, wala tayong report na natatanggap tungkol doon.
Okay, so sinuspindi na itong Oplan Tokhang, itong drug war noong January 30. No? Ano nung reaction nyo nung sinuspinde? I guess there was some relief on the part of your group, no?
Well, we were, actually, if you talk about Tokhang, it's not illegal per se, no? It's a very good intentions, no? But the way it was being implemented and what we see on TV and read in the newspapers and hear in the radios, mukhang madalas na magtatanong ka sa sarili mo, talagang bang nangyari yon, yung sinasabing nanlaban and then they were engaged into a shooting, ano. So, and these are precisely the things that should be looked into very seriously by the government.
Okay, no, so ni-revive na itong drug war by the police. Kasi, di ba, in-announce ng Pangulo na ibibigay na sa military, sa PIDEA, mukhang hindi naman...
And they're forming a new group.
Exactly. Pero ngayon, ibinalik na sa police, but nagpangako si PNP Chief Bato de la Rosa na hindi siya magiging ganun ka-bloody or hindi na siya magiging bloody. Kayo, last year pa lang, ay meron na kayong ipinapahayag ng mga guidelines, no?
Do's and don'ts.
Ang tamang tukhang, okay, ayon sa Integrated Bar of the Philippines. Medyo
mahaba siya,
Yeah,
no?
mahaba.
Pero,
and then ito nga ini-air namin ngayon itong guidelines ay mga dapat at hindi dapat gawin sa Oplan Tukhang. Dapat naka-uniforme ang mga pulis. Napapansin ko rin, no? Kasi nagko-cover din ako paminsan-minsan. May mga undercover na mga pulis na kasama ng uniform police, no? Minsan nakamaskara pa. Dapat sa araw lang isinasagawa ang Oplan Tukhang at hindi sa gabi. Pero we know that most of the time sa gabi nangyayari ito. Kung may aarestuhin, dapat may warrant of arrest. Ayon dun sa mga nakakausap nyo, mga both victims or arrestees and the police, meron pa sila
in
mga,
some
may mga arrest
instances,
warrant
they
pa sila?
show warrants of arrest, but in other cases, apparently, obviously, there's none, no? So, kasi yung Oplan Tukhang is supposed to be a non-aggressive program. Ibig sabihin, kakatok, makikiusap, kung makikipag-usap yung taong hinahanap nila, okay lang yun, ano? Pero kung halimbawang ayaw makipag-usap, hindi nila pwedeng pilitin yon unless meron nga silang search warrant or there is probably a cause to undertake a warrantless entry into the premises. No?
Ayun nga yung original na kahulugan ng tukhang, no? It's a Visayan term for just yung kumakatok sa, and then yun nga, nakikiusap. Pero mas na-associate siya sa patayan, ano? Yung pag kinausap mo yung ordinaryong tao sa lansangan, parang iba na yung ibig sabihin. Okay, ang tanong ko lang dito, kasi ang dami yung mga guidelines dito na dapat hindi ginagawa ng police, pwedeng tumanggi na sumama ang mga tinukhang, sakaling sumama, dapat humingi ng tulong ng abogado ang tinukhang, karapatan din na manahimik hanggang sa magkaroon ng tamang paglilitis. But ito nga, this depends on whether the police really follow or not, no? Kasi ito guidelines nyo para sa police. And then yung mga biktima, syempre, or yung mga, let's say, yung mga suspect na inaaresto, of course, they're very powerless, no? Wala naman, usually, hindi sila, tulad sinabi nyo kanina, they're among the poorest of the poor, may hirap ito, hindi naman mataas yung pinag-aralan ng marami, hindi naman nila alam yung mga karapatan nila. So, it's who will police the police? Para sumunod naman dito sa mga guidelines na sinasabi nyo.
Ito yung talagang sitwasyon natin na medyo nakakalungkot sa ngayon. Ano? Kaya kami sa Integrated Bar, ina-announce namin sa mga kababayan natin na lumapit sa amin, pumunta sa amin, at kami ay handang tumulong.
Okay.
Libre.
Okay.
Free legal services.
Free lawyers. Okay, yan ang gusto marinig ng marami. So, paano sila lalapit sa inyo? May telephone, landlines, maaring maraming pamilya na nabibiktima ay wala naman internet access sa bahay siguro, no? Ito, may IBP hotline, 696. Okay, this is in Manila, no? So, dapat may 02 yan.
Opo.
696-7042, 661-4352. Meron bang cellphone? Meron din? Or landline muna? And then may sasagot dyan, ha? 24 hours, 24/7?
Hindi naman 24/7 yan, but that's from 8 o'clock to maybe 5 o'clock in the afternoon, the regular working days. But if there is a need for the lawyers to work beyond the 8-hour working in a day, we can do that also.
Okay, so
we have the Legal Aid Office, National Office ng Integrated Bar of the Philippines. Dito lang sa Pasig, napakalapit lang. And we have also chapters, no? 85 chapters all over the country.
Okay, so kung nasa labas ng NCR o Metro Manila at tumawag dito, makakontakt naman yung probinsya
Opo,
kung saan
opo,
yung
opo,
biktima
opo,
o yung
opo.
nangangailangan ng tulong.
We've done that several times in the past. We ask our lawyers in the provinces to provide legal assistance. In fact, even to fellow lawyers who have become victims also of this war on drugs. One case that happened was in Iloilo, where the lawyer just was called upon by the client to assist because there were PDEA people who came to their house. And nang nag-assist lang, pinusasan din yung abogado namin.
Bakit pinusasan yung abogado
kasi
niyo?
daw, obstruction to justice.
Ano nang ginagawa ng abogado niyo nun?
So, nag-assist lang sa client niya because of the search that's being conducted by the PDEA.
Pero bakit sinasabing obstruction to justice? It's actually assisting
Yes,
for
because
justice.
tiningnan yung search warrant, may mga items na hindi naman nakaspecify sa search warrant. So, this lawyer called the attention of the PDEA implementing officers to, hindi naman po kasama yan, bakit ninyo kukunin yan? So, yun, because of that, he was...
Tsaka abogado na yun.
Abogado na yun, yun nga ang medyo it gives a lot of concern to us because if they can do that to a lawyer, how much more to an ordinary, poor citizen of this country?
Okay, ayon sa statistics ng pamahalaan mismo, almost 8,000 ang namatay dito sa drug war, including those who have been killed by the police themselves na mga di umanong ng laban, ano ba dapat ang procedure pag may tinamaan o may namatay doon sa scene, kung saan may police raid o may EJK, na sinasabi, may vigilante killing?
Immediately, there must be an investigation that should be conducted. Kaya may SOCO tayo.
May dumadating na SOCO.
And then,
Hindi pwedeng galawin yung tao,
hindi
yung
dapat,
bangkay o yung...
Until such time that the investigation or the gathering of evidence has been completed, Importante yon because this can make or break your case, Kung hindi tama ang pag-collate or gather ng ebidensya, and you go to court, how can your case stand in court if you have kung hindi sufficient yung evidence?
Curious lang ako, attorney. Hindi ba dapat may nagbe-verify muna na talagang patay yung tao? Kasi minsan may nabaril, darating na kagad yung SOCO. Siyempre pag SOCO, may assumption na patay na yung ginagalaw nila, Kasi minsan nasa crime scene din ako Parang wala akong nakikita na bine-verify na patay talaga kasi kung buhay pa yon,
dapat dalhin mo na sa ospital.
Yun na nga
diba?
po Oo nga. So para
so kung dumating yun ang dapat gawin. Tingnan muna kung buhay pa yung nabaril or something. Kung buhay pa, dapat immediately dalhin sa ospital parang masave ang buhay niya, di ba? Oo. So yun nga yung the stark difference between what ought to be and what is the reality, Yun yung dapat nating siguro i-bridge, parang ma-narrow yung gap or at least kung ano yung dapat, yun ang talagang nangyayari.
Okay, so nag-resume na tong Oplan Double Barrel Reloaded,
Yes.
Which is the new name for Oplan Tokhang, ano bang expectation niyo ngayon? Kasi nung sinuspindi itong drug war, sabi ni Pangulong Duterte, kailangan mo na mag-cleansing yung PNP. And then inaamin din ng mga senior police officers na there's a lot of improvement pagdating doon sa cleansing the PNP of scalawags, of abusive officers, of the corrupt, etc. So tingin nyo ba, nagawa na to, kaya nag-resume na itong double barrel reloaded?
Alam mo, sa isang banda, natuwa ako no, nung malaman kong sinuspend, and then when it was announced again that it will be recommenced, no? But with some difference, no? Nakakatuwa din yon kasi ang palagay ko sa loob-loob ko, siguro nabasa na nila yung aming statement on the do's and don'ts of an Oplan Tokhang, and maybe they will seriously consider implementing the program in accordance with what is lawful.
Okay, one final question just before we wrap up, ma'am. Kasi, of course, you had this large network of lawyers. Lawyers exist so we can, resolve conflicts through processes, no? Ano sa tingin yung magiging impact or long-term or even permanent impact nitong ganitong klaseng drug war, no? Na parang hindi masyadong importante na yung due process, kaya kayo nagkakaroon pa ng reminder na ito mga do's and don'ts. Dapat alam na to ng mga police, no? They shouldn't need reminders, no? So there are certain principles na inaaral nyo sa law school, and you're trying to educate everyone about rule of law, due process. Have these been damaged by this drug war?
I don't think so. Putting things in the right perspective, di ba? Kasi nakita naman natin kung gaano kalala yung drug menace in our country. So we thought that with the president with a strong hand, something drastic can really be done to reverse yung situation, ano. But as lawyers and being the integrated bar of the Philippines, dapat gawin ito within the rule of law, no. There is the constitutionally protected right of every citizen of this country to life, property, and liberty within the context of the due process clause of our Constitution. Kung ito po ay susundan lamang. Kasi ang tingin po namin, itong Oplan Tokhang should not be should not divide our country. On the other hand, it should be a unifying force, no, or factor. Kasi ini-engage mo yung mga tao na makipagtulungan sa gobyerno parang marisolbar natin ang problema sa droga. Pero kung ipapatupad mo ito na ikaw ay yung ganyan, may mga violations of human rights according to some people, then you defeat the very purpose of the program.
Okay, maraming salamat sa inyong pananaw.
Okay.